Hello everyone, welcome to another video by the YouTube Lab of Everything. Today we will be continuing dynamics, part 3, which is Newton's second law and friction. So make sure you watch till the end. I will link part 1 and part 2 in the description and put it in the end screen and also link it up above. Make sure you watch them too before you watch this. So let's get started with the video. Second law. When force is applied to a body at rest, it is set in motion. There is a change in velocity and hence there is a change in momentum. If a greater force is applied, the greater velocity takes place and hence there will be a greater change in momentum. This change in momentum gives rise to Newton's second law. The rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force and takes place in the direction of force. Newton's second law helps us to measure force. So basically what you can say is that Newton's second law is that force equals mass into area, or that area, I mean acceleration, this is acceleration. Force equals mass into acceleration, or acceleration is equals to force divided by mass. This is Newton's second law, basically. Otherwise stated, that acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass and directly proportional to the force. Now let's talk about friction. When an equal initial velocity is given to a block of wood, it travels different distances on different surfaces. On a smooth surface, it covers a longer distance than on a rough surface. When some force is applied on a body of given mass, it moves through a certain distance, gradually slows down and comes to a halt. The body stops due to an opposing force acting between the body and the surface. This force is called frictional force. This force acts in a direction opposite to the direction of motion. So I'll give you a simple diagram of friction, which is very commonly used. Now you can see that when force is applied in this direction and then the friction is applied on the opposite direction. So we could define friction by saying that it is a force acting on the opposite direction of the motion. This is the force that stops motion. So when you roll a ball down the surface, the ball rolls and eventually comes to a stop. It comes to a stop because of friction. Now next we'll discuss factors affecting friction. There are three main factors affecting the friction. One is nature of surface, the other one is normal force acting on the body, and nature of motion. A rough surface offers a greater friction than the smooth surface. That is an example for nature of surfaces and contact. Another factor affecting friction is the mass of the object. Mass of the object. This is also one of the factors of frictional force, because the more the mass, the more gravitational force acting on it, and hence there is more friction. Now next we'll move on to types of friction. There are three types of friction: sliding friction, rolling friction, and static friction. Sliding friction. When one body lies over another, the force which opposes relative motion between them is sliding friction. When a book slides over a table, the friction present is sliding friction. Rolling friction. When a body rolls over another, the frictional force between them is called rolling friction. For example, wheels of a moving car roll on the road, or a pencil rolling on the table. It has been experimentally proved that sliding friction is greater than rolling friction. Hence, it is a lot easier to roll a body over a surface than it slide on the same surface. Static friction. It is the friction that is generated between the two static surfaces that come in contact with each other. Here are a few advantages of friction. Friction helps us to walk because when we walk, we need to have friction between the feet and the ground, and which gives us a firm grip and helps us walk safely. Without friction, the without friction, the head of a matchstick and the lateral surface of matchbox, it is not possible to light the matchstick. So it helps us bring fire. Because of friction between the brakes and the wheels, it is possible to stop a moving vehicle by applying brakes. Next, we will discuss about the disadvantages of friction. Now we'll be talking about the disadvantages of friction. There are two main disadvantages of friction. One is the wear and tear of tires. So when we're moving, when we're using the car or bike too much, the friction between the tires and the road causes the wear and tear of tires. Friction between parts of machine give rise to heat and also when a vehicle moves, it overcomes a type of friction called drag or fluid friction. So in overcoming drag, there is a loss of energy. So those were the disadvantages of friction. Now we'll talk about the methods to reduce friction. There are two main methods to reduce friction. One is lubricating by using lubricating oil in machine parts regularly to reduce friction, and polishing the surfaces of bodies which are in contact reduces friction. Excess polishing increases friction. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also, the part 1 and part 2 of dynamics should be on your screen right now. Make sure you watch them if you haven't watched them yet, and also stay tuned for part 4, which will be coming sometime soon. The part 1 and part 2 should be on your screen by now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share and like.